Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show, live on WVON TV Channel 9 and on radio at WEKY, WKXO, and WIRV. Also brought to you by Bishop Small Engine Repair, the law office of Patrick O'Neill, Nuevo Vallarta, the Richmond Raceway, and Affordable Service Solutions. Now let's go live to your hosts, Michael Watkins, Samantha Burford, and Dawson Rule.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome into the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show. Michael Watkins here with you. Are you done now? You over here selling cars? Are you on the payroll now?
No, we were talking Airbnb stuff.
Ah, okay. All right. You got a hookup, I believe, don't you, for the Airbnb?
I do. Yeah. I have a really nice, I'm excited about it.
I think you should give me and Dawson a free night just to test it out, and then we can leave a good review.
Are you going to come in and clean up after yourself, change the sheets, mop the floors?
Why are we sleeping for? We don't need to sleep in the bed.
You don't want to spend the night. You just want to come in.
No, we want to spend the night. We're just not going to sleep.
We'll go watch a Cats or Colonels game over there.
Yeah.
I totally see you doing that. I don't see Dawson.
Yeah, Dawson's not on.
He's nice.
Yeah.
Dawson
can be.
Dawson,
whoa.
Dawson would be like,
Wait.
okay, Mike, I'm going to
Did you
help you change your sheets.
No.
He's nice. What does that mean? He's nice.
Hidden
Well, 'cause
talent.
when
I got
walk
hidden
in,
talents.
When I walk in, Dawson's like, hey, Samantha. And you're like, where you been?
I'm just responsible.
I don't
but
even notice when you
I
come
have a good
in.
time.
Normally we're on the air by the time you come in.
Now, that is not true. I leave my house every day at the
6:30?
same time.
Or
No,
5:30. 5:30. Sorry.
5:30.
Okay. All right.
It was about 5:32 when I left today.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was a great weekend, great week of sports here in the area. Hoops are moving along. We've got an interview today with Coach Manley from the EKU Co-Ed Cheer Squad after a third national championship in 4 years with them. We've also got an interview with Coach Prothrow that I did on Saturday during the EKU baseball meet and greet. We'll have that for you as well. And let's start there with Saturday's events in EKU men's hoops, in particular, Dawson. 2 more wins in the ASUN Conference, still undefeated, and my goodness, it seems like just yesterday we were here sitting at this table complaining about the start to the season that they had, mainly because they had all these expectations. Well, now they are living up to those expectations. A perfect start to the ASUN Conference.
And I was watching basketball on TV the other day before I went to the Eastern game, and I heard one of the analysts say this year in college basketball, winning at home is as important as ever. And he gave some good points about how transfers and fifth-year guys, COVID guys, have made it harder to go and win on the road. So when you're in conference, you got to win each home game. And EKU had a big homestand this week against Jacksonville. Not so good, but then number 2 North Florida, a game where you don't necessarily have to win, but, man, if you win, you're really setting yourself up. And they came in on Saturday and weathered the storm in the first half against UNF and just killed them in the second half and looked like the best team in the Atlantic Sun by far. And still got a month to go, but, wow, Eastern's rolling right now.
Yeah, 7-0 in conference play, Samantha, and the place, the atmosphere was absolutely electric.
Yeah, and what about Walker? I mean,
29 points.
29 points. That was impressive. Kozar, he was all over the place. Yeah. And Moreno didn't score a lot of points, but he was everywhere as well. You say it every week. You want him to score more, but he was everywhere. And when it mattered in that second half, he was there. Stepped up, and he was ready. Now, Donna, the eternal Colonel, like the Colonel everyone knows, she was in every little section. She was in the student section. She was, and she does it best.
Yeah. Speaking of Donna, I'll tell a quick story about Donna. So I guess it was the first conference game, the Lipscomb game. I took my 2 youngest kids to the game, and Donna's being Donna, got her megaphone out there and yelling, trying to get the fans and the team fired up. And my son Beckett, who just turned 4, he said, "Daddy, I want one of those." So I hollered down. Donna's 3 or 4 rows ahead of me. I said, "Donna, hey, he's asking me where you got the megaphone at." She said, "Oh, this thing's probably 10 years old. I don't think they sell them anymore, but hang on a second." Starts digging through her bag, pulls one out, gives it to him, and he thought it was the coolest thing ever. He's sitting there. I would have to tell him what to yell. He would yell it out to the team. But that's what kind of fan Donna is. She wants everybody to match her energy. It's impossible for anybody else to do so.
True.
But she is a great fan to have for EKU sports. And after a 7-0 start to conference play, Leland Walker, a 29-point career-high night. And to me, he's really been the biggest difference in conference play. He shooting the ball much better in conference play, being a leader out there. Cozart's been Mr. Consistent for the team all year long, I feel like. But Walker stepping up, scoring the points has been a big reason why they are 7-0 in conference play.
I mean, he was Eastern's first 4-star recruit out of high school. And last year he had a decent year freshman year. But the change from last year to this year, his play on the court, has probably been the most important thing for the team getting better, especially with losing Cooper Robb. And now he's going out here commanding the team with offense. You know, he's been a great point guard. Comer's still active, so they're not clashing heads with who gets the ball or whatnot. So, but Leland from last year to this year is just skyrocketed. I think that's one of the most important things, is why Eastern's on a 7-0 start now.
I'm going to tell you what I thought, being a fan and being at the game. One of the best things about that game, there were very few shots missed.
Yeah.
And as a fan, the excitement,
a lot of fun, isn't it?
Yeah, because you know what, they're just going up and down the court and they're missing shots.
Yep.
It's not a lot of fun, and you're just waiting.
A lot of fun if you bet the over in the game when both teams are shooting and hitting shots like that. Makes you feel really good when you bet the over.
They covered too, you know.
They did.
Yeah.
Good teams win, great teams cover, unless you're a Lions fan. Then you kind of feel a little different about that, maybe. But the game
There
on
wasn't
Saturday,
a lot of turnovers too. They had less turnovers.
5 fewer turnovers in the game, and UNF is a team that can shoot the ball as well. Both teams shot the ball well, but the Colonels, they kind of fell behind early in that first half, but only because UNF couldn't miss. They were shooting lights out. EKU was as well. The Colonels just able to kind of in that second half regroup, and again, Walker's big play, Cozart doing Cozart things. Blanton has been a little inconsistent this year, but it still feels like we're waiting for that big Blanton game where he might have a 30, 35-point game, because he is capable of doing that.
And there was times where 2 or 3 straight possessions in the second half, he had been in foul trouble in the first half. They gave him the ball baseline, and it was like, all right, one-on-one time, backing him down, and he scores. Like, man, if he can do that 3 or 4 times, here and there, I mean, that's just extra offense for EKU, because he'll hit that mid-range shot he does, or he'll pull up from 3 sometimes. He can do everything.
Blanton reminds me a lot of, like, Glenn Robinson. I don't know if, showing my age a little bit, you probably never heard of Glenn Robinson.
Is he from the mid-2000s?
The big dog, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, played for, or something like the Junkyard, whatever his nickname was, but he played for the Milwaukee Bucks. And he was a kind of the back-to-the-basket type small forward, kind of like Blanton is for Eastern. A guy that could back you down, could shoot the ball a little bit as well. And I don't know why, I just thought of his game when I watched Blanton play out there. Glenn Robinson, back in the, like I said, mid-2000s there with the Milwaukee Bucks. But Colonels, again, undefeated in conference play. Both teams shot over 50% for the game. That's kind of where the over hit, because, nobody could miss. It wasn't really even a question after that first half. But now back on the road, and there are some big games coming up.
Yeah.
Got to keep this win streak going. You can handle a loss, Dawson, especially now that you've knocked off the number 2 seed, but you got Kennesaw State and Stetson coming up. Those are going to be 2 big ones over the next 3 weeks.
Yeah. First game this week, Queens should win. I don't want to say guarantee, but they're not good, so you need to do that to start 8-0. That way, when you go to Kennesaw Saturday, it's going to be a tough game, and, hey, you could lose. We could win, too. But if you do lose, we've already got a 2-game lead in the conference, so say we lose that one. Well, we survive 1-1, and we still have a 1-game lead in the conference. I'll take that any day. So let's just beat Queens, and then hopefully we can beat Kennesaw. But if not, we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
Yeah, I think the start in conference play has kind of solidified the preseason. And when we had Cozart here 3 weeks ago, he talked about that. And he talked about how they were kind of not really full of themselves, but they were listening to all the accolades they were getting preseason. And I think even as a player, it doesn't make you kind of relax, but it does be like, oh, we are here. We've kind of arrived. So they had to kind of regroup and get that underdog mentality again that, okay, once again, everybody's counting us out. Let's regroup and get things turned around. And they have done just that. Now, Moreno is still a guy that I think has got to be the leader of this team. Cozart's kind of that silent guy. Blanton is a guy that I don't hear a lot from. Moreno is kind of the face of the program, a kid that's been around, local kid, had a lot of high school games in Baptist Health Arena. And I think he's got to continue just doing all the little things that needed to be done. And then if we need a big Michael Moreno game, let's get one of those from him.
He didn't hit a lot of threes on Saturday, but sure Samantha remembers when we got a couple offensive rebounds, got that and one baseline, got another offensive rebound, put it up for 2. Like, he was getting boards and finishing buckets off missed shots.
Yeah. Right. He didn't get the points, but he did the other stuff that made the win. And you were talking about Cozart. Cozart is what got them on the lead. He had that basket and the foul, the old-fashioned, you know,
three-point play.
Yeah, so that was exciting. So he's the one that got him on that 15-5 run. I believe it was 15-5. I don't.
Well, you said Queens and Kennesaw State on the road. Then Florida Gulf Coast, that'll be a big one. That's the ESPNU game.
Got to be there for that.
Next Wednesday, and then you've got Stetson on the road as well. So there are 3 big ones back to back to back. And then Chicago State, that's not a conference game. That game will be on Wednesday, February 14th. That's Valentine's Day.
That should be a dub. I don't think they're good.
Yeah, but and there are 3 big ones in the next 4 games for EKU. At Kennesaw State, at home versus Florida Gulf Coast, and a crowd in the Coliseum game, and then at Stetson. Some big ones coming up for the Colonels. The women also picked up some good wins over the week, Dawson. And Coach Todd has really seemed to kind of, I think, get his team after a slow start in conference play. I think they started 0-2.
0-2, yeah.
Now they have really picked up the pace in the ASUN.
Now up to 3rd place in the conference, 1 game behind Central Arkansas, and then 2 games behind Florida Gulf Coast. Now, I think Central Arkansas's only loss in conference was to Eastern, if I'm correct. So that's pretty big right there that they got that. I don't know if they play them again later in the year, but yeah, Eastern's battling. The women's is probably a little bit more competitive than the men's conference right now in terms of like teams who are good or closer to each other.
More equal.
Yes, more equal. That's even better wording. And EKU's at 3rd right now after a slow start. Not bad. I just hope we can keep it up, but they've been beating teams really good in the ASUN.
But isn't it like 5 in a row?
Yeah.
That they've won games?
It may be 5 in a row. I think so,
games.
Yeah, 5 in a row, and now 16-5 on the year. And the 5 consecutive conference wins are the first time since 2005 that they've done that. And it's not really just Anderson Winnett Walker. They've got other players stepping up. Costner scored a career-best 14 points, going 5 of 8 from the floor, and knocked down a 3-pointer in the first half. And we're seeing the other players get involved. Alice Recanati into the game with 6 assists, tying now the program record in career assist set by Angie Cox back in 1992. She'll come back home just 1 assist away from becoming the all-time program leader in EKU history. And what a way to be able to set that record on her home floor.
Yeah, she'll get it on Wednesday night, and I think that's like country music night. So if you like country music and basketball, you got to get out to EKU women's hosting Stetson.
I want to know what that even means. What is country music night
Morgan
even mean?
Wallen, baby. Been time out.
Are they going to have like a DJ?
That's not country music.
Yes, it is.
Morgan Wallen is country music?
Yeah.
Is this a hill we want to battle on right now?
Let's go.
Is.
Right
George
on.
Jones is country music. I mean, I like Morgan Wallen. I just don't think we can call that country. Yes, that's what country music is.
Old school's fine, but like, you know, I got to have some sand in my boots, you know.
Sand I don't think there's going to be any sand around here unless we go over to Lowe's, but
wasted on you, you know, all the good stuff.
And there goes the audience.
Oh, come on.
You hang on, Dawson's all the time.
Yeah, Dawson's mom said he had a cute voice over the weekend. What was the song you were singing?
It was the 70s channel, like
70s
late one night.
Yeah.
It was what is it?
The Love Shack. But that'd be 52.
No, it was like
Love Shack is from like the 90s.
Is it?
Right?
I don't know.
Not the 70s.
It's the Queen song, you know?
Thank you, Copeland, our producer, stepping in there. This music knowledge. Yeah, that's definitely not country music.
Well, I said it earlier. You guys know all the words to these songs that play while we're sitting here waiting on the show to come on, and I only know the chorus.
Well, we get here about 2 hours before the show goes live.
That doesn't have anything to do with knowing words to the song. But now you do sing a lot. You like karaoke.
When you got a voice like this, you got to share it with the world, Samantha.
Okay, back to Walker. You need to read what her accolades were. This is like her 50th career.
Yeah, 14
double-digit
points. Yeah. And she's so we know how good she is. Well, and Coach talked about it when we've talked to Coach Todd. Like, this is a player that's got a chance to really play pro. I mean, she's going to play pro somewhere. She could be in the WNBA. That's how good Antoinette Walker is. And, of course, again, country music night this week. It'll be a big night. Get your tickets now at EKU Sports.
To Las Vegas.
As an Eastern
champion
women's player ever gone to the WNBA? Like,
it's a great question.
Oh, that's good.
You know what? You know who would know that, don't you? Hugh Davis is probably
text us
watching
right now.
Hugh, if you know the answer to that, let us know. We will get that out there. Let's step aside for our first commercial break. We'll continue talking EKU sports. When we come back, we'll hear from Coach Manley of the EKU Co-Ed Cheer Squad. They have won 3 out of the last 4 national championships. She'll tell us all about that when we come back here on the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show.
Are you looking for a brand new SUV that won't break the bank? Look no farther than Jack Burford Chevrolet, home of the newly redesigned 2024 Trax. Bigger, bolder, more refined, and starting under $25,000, the new Chevy Trax is really upped its game. Come see us at Jack Burford Chevrolet in Richmond or check us out at jackburford.com to see everything this new Trax has to offer.
Patrick O'Neill has been serving Central and Eastern Kentucky since 1995. When someone is accused of something they didn't do, or when a good person makes a mistake, they need the best representation they can find. And that's Patrick O'Neill. Whether it's criminal defense, Social Security, disability, personal injury, workers' compensation, or deeds and wills, when you need legal advice, trust the expertise of Patrick O'Neill. He will get you the money you deserve. His office is located in Jackson, but Patrick practices all over Central and Eastern Kentucky. For more information or for a free consultation, call 606-666-2990.
Who makes the best meal in Richmond? Nuevo Vallarta. Friendly service, a place that's good for kids and good for groups. Head to Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond. Nuevo Vallarta is known for warm hospitality, great prices, great food, and the best fajitas in town. Start with an appetizer, order a la carte, or choose from their huge menu of Mexican favorites for grown-ups and kids. Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond.
I'm Michelle.
And I'm Jennifer. And in the spring of 1992, Bishop Small Engine Repair was born in our mom and dad's barn in Estill County.
Then in the fall of 1992, we made the move to Madison County, where we are today. With the support of our family, customers, and community, we have continued to grow in the outdoor power industry. With a full line of products from Cupcadet, Grasshopper, Echo, and Shindawa, we can help you tackle your yard so you can enjoy it with your family. Bishop Small Engine Repair, where our focus is our customer. Stop on in, 119 North Estill Avenue in Richmond. We can't wait to see ya.
The EKU Co-Ed Cheer Squad. And Coach, obviously, it's been a couple of weeks now since you all brought home another national championship. Talk about what it's been like as you and the team have kind of settled back in here in Richmond, knowing that another national championship is here at EKU.
Well, really, I've been giving the athletes a little bit of a break since coming home. We picked up practice last night, actually. But they're super hungry to work on new skills and prepare for the next year.
So for folks that may not understand how co-ed cheer works with you all, obviously we know, with college football, we know when the season comes to an end. With college basketball, we know when the season comes to an end. But with co-ed cheer and with cheer in general, it's a bit different. So talk about how like the schedule or the season plays out for you all, because you're cheering at football games, you're cheering at at other sporting events, but your all's competitions are kind of spread throughout the year. So talk about that and kind of when it all culminates for you all.
Okay, cheerleading is definitely a year-round sport. We go football and then we go basketball, but the average college student gets the whole month of December off. But for the cheerleaders, they stay on campus, and we go into two-a-days for the month of December and into January. And majority of those days consist of practicing 4 hours a day, and then sometimes there's a basketball game on top of that or a community service outing on top of that. So it's kind of, a full load, especially for student athletes, and some of our students even take like winter courses. So it's kind of nonstop for them.
So whenever you talk about your student athletes, it's obviously a co-ed team. So how many females and males do you have on the team?
Well, the ones that went down to Florida, I want to say there were 26 females on the team and maybe 7 to 8 males on the team.
Do you have to have is there a certain number that you have to be able to compete at that level?
Yes. So for our division, small co-ed D1, we compete with 20. And in the previous last 2 or 3 years, they've increased the number. So we started with 16, then went to 18, then went to 20.
Well, we know now winning a national championship this year, you went back-to-back and then missed a year, finished second place in 2023. Here we are now, another national championship for the squad. Talk about the differences from where you were this year to last year, finishing second. What was the biggest difference in getting back up there to that top spot with this year's team?
Well, last year was definitely a rebuilding year for us. I really didn't know what was going to happen last year. It was kind of just, it was a blessing in disguise. I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better season last year, but I also think it made the athletes hungry for this year. And the ones who have won before in the back-to-back years, they really pushed for certain standards to be met and held their teammates accountable at practice and for all our showcases and just all the responsibilities as a whole of being like an ambassador for the EKU cheerleading program.
With your squad, it's different because, with Coach Hamilton than what she might have, but you all work together, obviously. Talk about your relationship with her and kind of how you all work together throughout the year to put the best squads together.
I mean, we kind of go together from the very get-go on tryouts. If there's, because I'm small co-ed, so I do have girl bases on my team, not just tiny flyers that a boy puts up. So that's something that a lot of people don't know about small co-ed. And if there's somebody that might work best on her team or might work best on my team, we kind of just work together and put the athlete where they were best fit for the program. And then we cheer football games, basketball games together. We do Hoop Fest performance throughout the year together, community service events, and we collab a lot.
So with 3 national championships now, it seems like the program has kind of solidified itself as a national a name that's going to be out there. When you took over the program, did you imagine this happening so soon, or is this something that you have kind of been surprised about how quickly you all have became what you are now?
I don't know if I would say I'm surprised. I guess EKU technically wasn't on the map competitively, but I didn't think they would be where they are. I came from an all-girl background, and coaching co-ed was a learning gap for me, but I instilled a lot of the characteristics and techniques I have learned from being on past teams. I cheered at Moorhead, I cheered at Dunbar, I was on Team USA, and I felt like if I took away lessons that I learned and kind of teach them to benefit from that, then it will be more successful in the future.
So speaking of that, what are some of the things that you've learned that you've been able to kind of pass down in your time here to help get this program where you have gotten it to?
I think holding each other accountable is a big thing. I think in today's generation, it's very common for athletes not to get upset when somebody kind of critiques them, but critiquing them in a positive way is beneficial. And having a champion mindset, just doing the best you can in whatever scenario that is, whether it be at practice, in a game, or in the classroom.
Is there anything now that we know that your all season have kind of wrapped up with the national championship? So what's next? I guess what would be the next step for EKU co-ed cheer as you all celebrate the national championship, but then move on to another year?
Well, we started practice back last night, and they are hungry to get back into the practice room and work on more elite skills, more elite pyramids, and now that they have that kind of fire lit under them, I think they're ready to see what the next year holds.
Do you work with a lot of the local teams around here? Do you all do camps? Like, if somebody was interested in maybe getting a recruiting profile out there, what's the best way of getting more information about your squad?
The best way to get information about tryouts or open gyms or any clinics we have coming up would be to look on our Instagram page. You could also reach out to us on Facebook and reach out to me personally if you need to.
Well, what is the Instagram? Is it just EKU Cheer?
EKU_cheerleading.
Okay, there you go. Well, Coach, always a pleasure catching up with you. I know it's been a busy time for you all, again, celebrating another national championship, 3 in 4 years, a second place finish in between those 4 years as well. Congratulations, and look forward to seeing you again very soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach Manley and the EKU co-ed cheer squad. Another national championship. That's a really big deal, Samantha.
I watched
they
it
have
live.
been doing some big things since she took over.
Super excited. Both squads are fantastic.
Yeah.
But congratulations to the co-ed squad. They are phenomenal.
Let's talk about some high school hoops now. We'll transition over to there. It was a big announcement came out late last week. Dawson, Coach Curtis talked to us and said that Bailey Hensley, we've been waiting on the news. She was kind of cleared a little bit of a week or so ahead of schedule, but is ready to go. She will play her first game now on Thursday of this week against Lafayette. We'll be there on Friday when it's a boy-girl doubleheader with Rockcastle County and get to see her in action at home on Friday. Bailey Hensley making her return to the basketball court.
Once she does, it's go time for Southern because they've slowly been rising up the RPI, and they're one spot behind Central, I believe, and I think they're in the top 5, if not number 6 now, something like that. That's pretty good for a team that's won but also lost quite a bit of games, and they're really young. And now they're adding a senior who's really good in the post and can score a lot of points, can get you buckets if you're not shooting that well. I mean, this could be the last key for Southern to really make a late-season push.
And as we've been talking, she's got to get in that mix, you know, and she's not going to get to play a lot, I wouldn't think, because, you know, if she's not been allowed to play,
work
she's
her
not
back
allowed to
in
practice.
slowly, yeah.
I'm sure she can stay in there and shoot, but that energy of going up and down the court.
She might be on a minutes restriction. I could see her maybe getting like 15 minutes to start, then maybe working her way up to 20, and then maybe the whole game. But eventually, they want to kind of work her way in. Still got about 12 games left in the year, so there's still plenty of time to get her in a rhythm.
And I think they're on like a four-game
winning streak, including an absolute destroying of Estill County over the weekend, 53-15. And Dawson, we were there on Friday. They knocked off Berea last week, and I think Tuesday of last week. Tuesday, big win there over the Lady Pirates. Looked really good, kind of closing that game out with some young players stepping up. And I think when you add Bailey into this mix, the experience these 8th graders have gotten with her being out, now I think it'll make them more comfortable having her to rely on out there on the floor, a girl that's been in some big-time region tournament basketball games.
Yeah, and this is kind of what Southern fans have been waiting on. I'm sure the coaches and players we will never be complete until we get Bailey back. Well, now Bailey's going to be back this week. We'll see what the team is capable of, and they've improved a whole lot from start to finish, and they've done pretty well without her so far. You would have thought maybe some more losses just with the young and inexperience and not having kind of a post presence like Bailey can be. Now they're getting her, one of the best players in the region. That could elevate you a couple teams right there.
Well, until you look at what they've been able to do without her, they've been hanging around with teams like O'Brien Station, like Madison Central that they beat without her. We talked about Central themselves and Berea. They'll play in action Thursday night.
Be a fun game.
We'll be there. We got Lady Indians twice this week. Tomorrow versus Tates Creek, and then
it's official now.
On Thursday, we'll have the game versus Berea. So a couple of chances to see Lady Indians in action. A 11th region game tomorrow night versus Tates Creek at home, and then follow that up on Thursday night in a game at Berea. 2 big ones for Madison Central, who themselves are playing very well. 5 of their last 6. Their only loss coming to a really good Montgomery County team of the last 6 games.
Right. Speaking of improvements, we move right on to Madison Central. Lafayette was really good until Central beat them, and that dropped them a couple spots in the RPI, but they were top 5 in the 11th region. You beat Bryan Station pretty well. I mean, that game, it was kind of close, and Central pulled away with a big run. So, as good as the Lady Eagles have improved, the Lady Indians have improved just as good, and they're really starting to hit their stride this year.
You mentioned that they beat Bryan Station. They've also beat Great Crossing. I wrote it down today because I was shocked. Because, you forget, you're ready for the next team. But they've beat Scott County, Lexington Catholic, and now Lafayette. So big time. We're getting ready to play Tates Creek, right? Yep, tomorrow.
Yep. And that game against Berea on Thursday, a big one for Berea as well, because they've been kind of reeling as of late. They need a win. They played well against Southern at times, just couldn't get enough shots to go in, played good defense. They got to find a way to score more points. They'll be on their home floor in that game against Central. See if they can get one of those wins like they did last year against Southern on their home floor late in the year.
Yeah, we've seen Southern Berea girls a lot. I don't think we've seen a lot of Berea Central girls. So that'll be an interesting matchup.
They normally play every year in the early part of the season. It's only like the first or second game of the year. This year, much later in the year.
That's why.
And I think it'll be good for both teams to kind of see how good they are now. Kind of a measuring stick as we're a month or so away from the district tournament.
And Berea girls didn't have a a game for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It seemed like.
Well, the snow and everything. I think it was like 12 days since they had a game, but we'll see what happens there. On the boys' side, Madison Central, after beating West Jessamine, we have seen a ton of improvement. They hung around with Great Crossing, hung around with Ashland Blazers, same thing with Frederick Douglass, same thing with Lincoln County Dawson, but they have not been able to get over the hump and get one of those big-time wins. Plenty of opportunities to do so, though, because over the next 3 weeks, Trinity on the road.
Tonight.
Evangel Christian on the road. Catholic on the road. Christian on the road. Kenyatta Harge in that game.
Yeah.
We'll see his old teammates.
Oh,
and then
I
you got
completely forgot about that.
and Covcath and South Laurel. I mean, also down the stretch for the Indians.
So,
That excites
and
me.
none of those are at home. Their last game of the year, Covcath at home on February 23rd. Indians have a brutal schedule to round out the year.
Yeah.
Got to keep improving, even if you don't win these games. If you can contend with a Trinity and Evangel Christian and some of these really good teams across the state, can give you more confidence as we get ready to gear up for that 11th region tournament.
Trinity's 4th in the state as of the KSR rankings this morning, and then Catholic is what, 20-1 or something like that. I mean,
20-2. Great Crossing just beat them over the weekend.
Yeah, and Great Crossing now. I mean, you've had to play them, so it's just
Douglas. I mean.
Douglas. Oh my goodness, I don't want to talk about it. I mean, it's just been that brutal of a schedule. I feel bad, but this is how they're going to have to learn to play against good teams, even with as much inexperience as they have.
This region is just nuts.
Yeah, it's insane.
Impressive.
It's insane. Madison Southern, we were there for their game against Great Crossing. How about Eagles come out guns a-blazing, could not miss a 20-9 lead. Then the wheels fall off. They scored 26 points over the rest of the game. Great Crossing took over and never looked back. A 30-point win for the Warhawks. That marked the third straight loss for Madison Southern before they got back in the win column over the weekend against Jackson County. But we're starting to see, I think, Southern has got to find a way to regroup. And when things aren't going well, you can't let it just spiral out of control. They've got to find a way, Dawson, to when things don't go perfect, how do we kind of stop that momentum and let's get it back on our side? Because once the momentum left on Tuesday night against Great Crossing, they had no shot of ever getting it back.
And they're loaded with 3 seniors. I mean, and those 3 seniors, and Nobby's a junior, very good. One of those, and we'll include Nobby in their 4, has got to be like, all right, I'm going to be the leader. And like if things start going crazy or anything, we blow a lead or something like the Great Crossing game, I'm going to step up and say something, and this is how we're going to play this, and this is how we're going to do that to stop this run, because it didn't happen, and I don't know if anyone stepped up, and they kind of collapsed after that great first quarter. I mean, it shows that they can compete with good teams like that if things are going right. But if things aren't going right, someone's got to step up and be like, all right, we're not going to let this happen anymore. We're going to come back and do this and that. So whoever that is, I mean, Southern's got plenty of guys who can do it. Someone will have to step up this year because they need to get a couple big wins before the district tournament.
I feel like they take it so personal.
Yeah.
They just like Rose walking down to the other end, the other side of the court.
Upset with himself.
Upset with himself, not the team. Just like, why am I not playing well this quarter? Like, what is happening? And he was processing it. And I understand that. You got to take a moment. But I just feel like, and you got to remember, too, they're minus a Hudson.
So
Zach. I'm anxious to see when he's going to be back.
Supposed to be back against Rockcastle County was what I was told last week, which that'll be Friday night, a game we're going to be there for that doubleheader.
And I think it's good they're taking it personal. Don't take me wrong that it's bad.
Well,
it's just, wow.
Here's the thing,
they got
though.
in.
When you're playing Great Crossing, it can't be Jay Rose versus Great Crossing. It can't be Braden Hudson versus Great Crossing. Not that it was that
Jay
way.
Rose versus Godfrey.
But it seemed like they each tried to be like, okay, I got to personally stop this run. I've got to stop this guy. Instead of working as a team, which worked for them there in that first quarter. Rose was getting to the basket, kicking it out. Nobby played well. Davidson hit some shots. But once those shots started not falling, the wheels fell off, and the Eagles fell off as well. Another loss for them, but nice to get back in the win column, try to regroup, get some momentum. We'll be there Friday when they take on the Rockcastle County Rockets in a boy-girl doubleheader.
I want to add one more thing to that. Real quick, when Central played Great Crossing, it was much closer. Moreno, they kind of shut him down.
Yeah, they had size.
Moreno, he got 24 points.
Did, and dominated the boards,
against
blocked
Southern.
some shots. Well,
much better performance from Moreno.
Ty Thomas and Luke Asher a little bit more
taller.
physical and bigger than Andrew Davidson or Avery Davidson is for Southern. There's a much bigger difference as a mismatch as far as what Great Crossing could go up against when they win against the Indians.
His brother was there watching.
Oh, yeah. Michael was in the stands on that game as well. We're going to step aside for another commercial break. When we come back, we're going to hear from Coach Chris Prothro of the EKU baseball team. I interviewed him on Saturday as part of the EKU baseball meet and greet. We'll talk to him, hear from him in that interview when we come back. Also, a couple of players for the EKU baseball team as well. That's coming your way next on the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show.
Are you looking for a brand new SUV that won't break the bank? Look no farther than Jack Burford Chevrolet, home of the newly redesigned 2024 Trax. Bigger, bolder, more refined, and starting under $25,000, the new Chevy Trax is really upped its game. Come see us at Jack Burford Chevrolet in Richmond or check us out at jackburford.com to see everything this new Trax has to offer.
Patrick O'Neill has been serving Central and Eastern Kentucky since 1995. When someone is accused of something they didn't do, or when a good person makes a mistake, they need the best representation they can find. And that's Patrick O'Neill. Whether it's criminal defense, Social Security, disability, personal injury, workers' compensation, or deeds and wills, when you need legal advice, trust the expertise of Patrick O'Neill. He will get you the money you deserve. His office is located in Jackson, but Patrick practices all over Central and Eastern Kentucky. For more information or for a free consultation, call 606-666-2990.
Who makes the best meal in Richmond? Nuevo Vallarta. Friendly service, a place that's good for kids and good for groups. Head to Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond. Nuevo Vallarta is known for warm hospitality, great prices, great food, and the best fajitas in town. Start with an appetizer, order a la carte, or choose from their huge menu of Mexican favorites for grown-ups and kids. Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond.
I'm Michelle. And I'm Jennifer. And in the spring of 1992, Bishop Small Engine Repair was born in our mom and dad's barn in Estill County.
Then in the fall of 1992, we made the move to Madison County, where we are today. With the support of our family, customers, and community, we have continued to grow in the outdoor power industry. With a full line of products from Cupcadet, Grasshopper, Echo, and Shindawa, we can help you tackle your yard so you can enjoy it with your family. Bishop Small Engine Repair, where our focus is our customer. Stop on in, 119 North Estill Avenue in Richmond. We can't wait to see ya.
We talked about the great audience, the great crowd that was there for the EKU basketball game on Saturday. Well, one reason for that was the EKU baseball meet and greet. Lots of folks coming out to the meet and greet and then heading over immediately after that to the basketball game versus North Florida, creating such an exciting atmosphere there for the EKU home game. During the meet and greet, I was live on WBON TV with Coach Chris Prothro, where he talked about his team this upcoming year, the ASUN Conference, and he's very excited to get the season started versus Auburn, that game right around the corner. Let's hear from Chris Prothro and a couple of his players as well from the EKU baseball meet and greet from this past Saturday. I'm Michael Watkins here with the head baseball coach, Chris Prothro. And, Coach, we're entering year number 4 as the head coach at EKU. Talk about kind of what you've seen here in the offseason as you guys gear up for another exciting year of baseball.
Yeah, so we just spent some time across the way talking about how the program has grown over the last 3 years, talking about the athletic department itself, how it's grown over the last 3 years. And we can't be more excited or couldn't be more excited about what that looks like for us moving forward, starting off our season in 3 weeks against Auburn. You see the results of that across our athletic department with the success of the other sports on campus. Yeah. Certainly men's and women's basketball are on a roll right now. We want to see that keep going. And what was done in the fall with football competing for a playoff spot and women's volleyball and soccer and all the success that the myriad of our sports are having. So we're excited about continuing that momentum and continuing to push the bill forward to where we can be a program that's competing for postseason appearances and trying to bring some national recognition back to the school and the athletic department.
Well, one thing we've seen in your short time here is a lot of guys playing professional baseball after their time at EKU is over with. We'll get to what this year looks like here shortly. Well, let's talk about that and how exciting it is to see your guys that you've helped develop go on and continue their baseball career.
Yeah, it's always exciting. In the recruiting process on the front end, we talk to the student athletes or prospective student athletes about what it is that they want, right? They're talking about how they want to come hopefully play for a program that wins championships. They want to be at a school that has an opportunity, the degree that's available to them is going to set them up for success for life when baseball is over. And then certainly, we're recruiting the caliber of player and student athlete that has a chance to play professionally. So it's always good for guys when they come in, they develop, they work, to be able to chase their dreams, to get what it is that they want. And so, seeing the two Wills, right, Will Bryan and Will King over the last couple of years with Logan playing professionally right now, Logan Thomason, and then there's a couple of other guys that have been drafted on the front end before they got here. And certainly we think we'll continue to develop more professional student athletes, during our time here moving forward, that it shows them that the EKU is a place where that can happen for them, which is exciting.
Well, we've seen individual success. We've also seen success from the team aspect as well. But when you have expectations, and obviously you want to set those ahead of time, what are those expectations for the team as we enter this year?
Our expectations, we try not to get too far ahead of ourselves in our program. We try to take it one day at a time. But I think something that we're consistent in the mission that we have as a program is we want to play well. We want to do that consistently. And then we want to see what playing our best looks like. Yeah. And certainly we want to be playing our best at the end of the season, because that's when championships are won. That's when postseason tickets are punched. And that's when, you have a chance to show that you're a real player, right, in those heightened situations. And you have a chance to market yourself for an opportunity to be an all-conference type player or to have a chance to play professionally. But, for us, the goal is every time an umpire says play ball at the beginning of a game, we want to win. And certainly at the end of the game, if we have not done that, we haven't done it successfully, we want to learn from it so we can do it the next time we play. But we expect to win. We expect to have success. We want to be a championship-type program, and we want to play in the postseason, and we want to work every single day to see what our best looks like to be able to make those things happen.
Talk about this event today and how important it is to kind of get your guys out there. And for these folks that are, up here for every home basketball game, to see some of the faces they're going to be rooting on just over here down the road or down the campus a bit on the baseball field whenever baseball does get going.
Yeah, it's always fun for people that don't necessarily get exposed to our guys on a day-to-day basis. It's fun for us to see that happen. We have such a unique, diverse, just kind of an original, roster, and our guys are come from all over the place, right? We've got guys from Kentucky, certainly, but we've got guys from all over the country. We've got guys from outside of the country. We've got a couple players from Canada. We've got one from Australia. We've got guys from Florida. We've got guys from the Midwest. We have guys from Texas. And so for them to be able to get out and people to be able to put a face with a name or a face with a number probably, yeah, right, when they're out there watching them play is neat for us, because I think they get to see what kind of player that we have, or what kind of people really we have in our program, and we think we have special people in our program.
Talk about some of the guys. We're going to have a few of them come up here in just a few moments, but some of the names that folks are going to hear a lot about this year once the season does begin.
Yeah, certainly I don't want to leave anybody out, and I could sit up here and talk about the entire roster for a while, but we got some returning faces, right? Guys like DJ Sullivan, Miguel Larial, Connor Davis, Santi Peralta, Silas Schaefer's a returner, even though he didn't play last year. These are position players, right? Ron Franklin and Max that have been here for a while. That there'll be some familiar names, and then you've got new names on the position player side of things, whether it's Justin Carenzi, Christian Ascona, Jaden Brown, Elijah Underhill, and I'm missing a couple of guys. But
it's a big roster.
It is. It's a big roster, and there'll be, guys that contribute up and down it. And so on the pitching side of things, returners Joe Clancy and Reese Brown, and there's multiple guys, Isaac Milburn, guys that have pitched over the last couple of years in big spots and had success. And then you've got some new guys there as well, Riker Walton, Jack Waters, Bradley Stewart. These are guys that will come in and make an impact right away. So I think the strength of this program, we've talked about it before, and kind of the character of it, right? We've got a bunch of different guys that are good guys that bring different perspectives and all of that it's really special to see. And then I think we've got some depth from an ability standpoint that I think it'll take all 40, and I think we've got 40 that can help us win.
A couple more questions before we get some of the guys up here. Let's talk about the ASUN conference as a whole. And, we talked about it the other day, how really it's a good baseball conference for you guys, because while right now the weather and things can be kind of iffy here in Kentucky, you guys will get a chance to kind of go down south and to some of the warmer states and play some important games.
Yeah, from a baseball perspective, the ASUN is one of the premier mid-major leagues in the country. There's 4 schools down in Florida that are very serious about being good at baseball. Lipscomb down in Nashville was played in a regional last year. They've come on the last couple of years. They're very good. And, I could go through all 12 teams that are in our league currently. But they're all serious about baseball. They're serious from an administrative standpoint, whether that's the president and the athletic director, right, and the resources that are provided, and then certainly their coaches are working at it from a player development and recruiting standpoint. And then the players are good. You know, we have multiple draft picks out of our league last year. We'll have multiple draft picks again out of our league this year, and the level of competition is very high.
Well, let's get Santiago Peralta up here. We'll have Santiago come up and chat with us. We'll let you go back and mingle a bit, and we'll get you back up here before we wrap things up here.
Thank you. I'll grab him.
Santiago make his way up. Folks, don't forget, coming up here in about 40 minutes, we'll have the tip-off between EKU basketball and North Florida, number 1 versus number 2. It'll be a big game today in the ASUN Conference of Men's Hoops. Santiago, welcome in, my man.
Appreciate it.
So we're from Lexington Catholic. Well, we're not. You are from Lexington Catholic.
Right.
So you're not too far from home whenever you play here. Talk about what it's like to put the maroon and white on and going into this senior year, how important it is to kind of keep things going from where this program has come along to.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm super excited to be only from 30 minutes away. I get the opportunity. My parents are pretty close, and that means a lot to me when they come out and watch me. I know it's for some of my teammates, you know, they're from Florida, or my best friend, he's from Louisiana, so it's hard for those parents to, you know, make every trip. So that's something to be thankful for sure. And I mean, I've been here for 4 years, and that maroon and white, it'll always be maroon and white. You know, there's not one day that goes by without me, you know, waking up. All I want to do is come in DC and pick up a baseball, you know. It's awesome. I'm super thankful for this opportunity.
Talk about when you talk to some of those guys that are from Florida and from Louisiana, you know, the weather here is a lot different than it is back home for those guys. So do you give them any advice on how to stay warm whenever these cold Kentucky weather hits them?
Well, you know how the weather is here. It's like one day it'll be sunny, and then the next 30 minutes a storm comes through. So I tell them to always stay on their toes, you know. We got a guy from Canada, JC. He always talks about how the weather here it's crazy. And I'm like, yeah, you got to stay on your toes.
Do you get a chance to go back home? I know Lexington Catholic's had a really good program. Do you have a chance to ever go back home and support the guys back in Lexington Catholic as well?
Yeah, you know, it's a lot of practices, and when I get the time to go back home, I definitely take advantage of it. I love Catholic, you know, that's where I went for all 4 years, and it's such a good school. But I mean, some of my best friends are from there, so when we get back home during the breaks and stuff, we always go back there, and you whether we practice with the guys or we're just around everybody, it's such a good time.
What have you seen from the baseball team since you got here to EKU that maybe if a prospective recruit was looking at coming here, what would you tell them about the program since you became an athlete that has really, I think, kind of changed over the last 3 or 4 years since Coach Pro became the head coach here?
The opportunity that our coaching staff has given me and is willing to give everybody else is so big. We have so much room to work with. And what I like the most is that our coaching staff is straight up with you. You know, there's no line, there's no talking behind your back. If either Coach Jones or Coach Pro think something should be this way, they'll tell you that it should be that way. But if you have some questions about why it should be that way, they're always willing to answer that question.
One more question, we'll let you get back out there. When you talk about yourself, your own game, what is there something that you want to improve on from last year to this year? Is there one part of your game that you've really worked on, where maybe coach said, hey, let's work on this as you go into the new season?
Yeah, I've spent a lot of times in the cages this whole offseason with Coach Jones. That is definitely something that there's always room to work with. You know, there's always those games where you go 0 for 4. There's always those games where you can go 4 for 4. But it's so hard to be consistent. And we talk about that consistent, you know, what you should feel when you're 0 for 4. Like, you know, what are you going to do? Are you going to think about those 4 ABs that you just had that didn't go your way? Or are you going to go back and be like, you know what, screw it. Let's go for the next one. But the mentality that I had last year has definitely changed in a way that's just, there's always room to improve, you know.
All right, Santiago, appreciate you stopping by, my man. Good luck, and have some fun out there with the basketball
Thank
game
you.
today as
Appreciate
well.
y'all.
That's Santiago Peralta. Let's bring up another Lexington product. Max Williams will come up and talk to us, EKU baseball. How's it going, man?
How are you?
I'm good, good. So, first of all, you know, you and Santiago, you both played high school baseball. I'm sure you all played against each other, correct? Whenever you all were in high school? So, do y'all ever look back at those days and kind of reconvene a little bit, look back on the glory days of the high school baseball games?
Oh, yeah, we do. We do. There's games that we'll watch that are on film, and we love going back and reminiscing on those good times and talking about how the team is now. And, you know, there's a lot of fun back in those days. And
we talked with Coach Prothero about the ASUN conference. So what have you seen from the conference in your time here that, you know, I think kind of lends to, well, this is a really good baseball conference. What have you seen from your perspective that folks maybe that aren't big baseball fans don't know about how good of a conference the ASUN is?
Yeah, so for me, I started off in the OVC was my freshman year, and then we moved to the ASUN my sophomore year. And the level of competition and the quality of facilities that we'll go to, you know, they're, as opposed to like OVC road trips, you'll go somewhere that, you know, might not be super competitive or nice, but in the ASUN, you know, you go to these places and it's a very high level of competition, top tier facilities, you know, especially for a mid-major level, and they're just a lot of fun to play at and really good competition. It's a lot of fun.
What have you seen from the guys here in the offseason that gives you confidence that this could be a special year for EKU baseball?
We've got a lot of good guys on this team. We have a lot of hard workers. That's tough to find anywhere you look in the country. It doesn't matter the school. It doesn't matter the facilities. It's tough to find 45 really good guys that work hard and treat each other the right way. And so there's not a guy on this team that I think doesn't have my back. So that's something really special. And
well, since you became a student athlete, obviously the landscape has changed in college athletics with the portal and everything else. So what has it been like as an athlete seeing how those things have changed the sport itself and just the college sports landscape?
Yeah, so after my first year, I was one of only 9 guys to come back due to the portal. And they made some great changes. Coach Pro and the rest of the staff brought in 35 guys that, you know, they hit the bullseye on every single one of them. And so after that first year, we all really meshed well. The transfer portal became very popular after COVID hit. It's kind of died down a little bit, but, you know, it's a very important aspect of recruiting. And, you know, we've found some very good guys, some very talented guys in that portal. So it's just part of the new world of baseball.
What's it like playing for a coach like Coach Pro? And I know during the offseason he'll like hit with you all. I think he hit a home run off somebody in the offseason. So what's it like playing with him? And he seems like a really good players coach, somebody that you can talk to, you know, about anything, not just baseball, but life as well.
Yeah, he's been great for me personally. You know, I've been on this journey. We've been on this journey together. His first year here was my first year too. So, you know, we've gone through the ups and downs together. He's as good as it gets in terms of teaching the guys on the team and being there for them, communicating, and also being honest with everybody when they need that too. It's a good thing.
So as we get ready to start the season, you know, we're not too far away from baseball season beginning. What are some things that I think folks might be surprised about? Is there some players that, you know, that have transferred in or some guys that have really improved in the offseason that you're excited to see out there and play real games with?
Yeah, we have a lot of good new faces here, a lot of good freshmen. The freshman class is very strong. We have some good transfers. We have some really good arms, some arms coming back from last year that have really improved because guys have been working hard all offseason. So all across the board, I think you'll be surprised at the changes in the depth this year as opposed to years before.
All right, Max, appreciate you coming on, my man. We will let you get back to it. Folks, if you see some of these guys out there, stop by and say hello to them. We're going to get Ron Franklin Jr. up here to talk to us as well. But get to know these guys. Get ready to support them as college baseball season is ready to begin. What's up, Ron? How are you?
How you doing? How you doing?
Good, good. You enjoying this rainy weather we've got? Oh, you guys are probably used to it now, though, right?
Yeah, we are, yeah.
So, being from New Orleans, talk about maybe some of the differences as to what it's like playing baseball back home as opposed to playing baseball here at EKU.
One thing for sure is the weather. It's crazy cold up here, I'm not going to lie. But back home, I mean, the competition is probably close to being the same, but probably better. It's not really that much of a difference besides the weather.
Do you ever get a chance to get some food from back home? I know there's a big difference in the food, too, right?
The break we just had, my dad made me at least 3 pots of gumbo. So I'm down to my last one, and they about to come up in a few. And shout out Coach Jones. He brought me a king cake up, so I can't wait to eat that.
So talk about EKU baseball and what you've seen since you became an athlete here to where it's at now. And obviously we talked about the landscape of college sports changing, but just EKU baseball. What are some of the changes that you've seen since you've been a college athlete here?
So coming from a JUCO, you know, the JUCO grind is way tough. And just coming to EKU to play D1 baseball, I mean, it's a big difference. My first year here, we won a conference championship, and that was a big accomplishment, and we plan on doing that this year and making it to a super regional.
How important is it whenever you walk around campus and you see, other students on campus wearing the maroon and white? And I feel like we see it all over the community now with folks that are really supporting EKU sports.
I mean, just walking around EKU campus, it's just like a family environment. The teammates, the coaching staff, and all the stuff like that. But yeah, I'll just say it's just a family culture here.
You know, I feel like talking to you. We've interviewed you before. Your personality is sometimes different than some of the other guys might be. So who do you think on the team matches your personality? Is there one guy that you might say, well, he's the funniest, or you might get along with the best because your all's personalities mesh?
Matching personalities, I really have no clue about that, but I could say the 2 funniest dudes on the team has to be Connor Davis and Silas.
Okay.
100%.
All right. What makes them, the funny guys?
They from Connor, he from Mississippi, so he have the Mississippi accent.
Okay.
And then Silas from somewhere up here, I forgot where he from, but the country accents, they just you could tell they could be brothers.
Okay. When you talk about EKU baseball, what would you say to fans this year to get their support? And maybe if there's just an average sports fan out there that you want to kind of get to come in and watch you all play this year, what would you tell them to get them excited to come watch an EKU baseball game?
We just a fun team. We play with a lot of energy. We have a lot of guys that's just goofy. We just love being around each other and just having fun. And y'all come out and support us, and you won't be disappointed.
So another exciting interview with Coach Prothero. We've had him on the show numerous times, and another guy we've had on the show numerous times is coming back on with us next week. Walt Wells coming over, talk some EKU football next week with us. That'll be a lot of fun. Good to see Coach Wells and kind of catch up with him. EKU football not too far away. I've seen Parker McKinney videos getting ready for the NFL draft and the combine, hoping that he can maybe get a draft pick. And then Josiah Israel, he's been competing in the bowl game or getting ready for the bowl game. He looks like he's going to be drafted as well.
That's exciting. And well, Coach Wells is going to talk to us all about what their big spring event. It is football related, but the suits for seniors.
Yeah, and that was a fun event. Last year at Dawson, we were there with Copeland. We did a big live stream, kind of like a red carpet event.
Fun.
Yeah, you were there for fun.
We saw you. We heard you.
We heard you. Trust me. We heard you loud. Because you're loud and proud. That's what Coach Wells would say.
I did not win the money. That's what I was hoping for.
I'm hoping to get in there this year and win that. Maybe take my own trip to Vegas.
And then we can split it.
No.
I want to split it with me. I'll tell you what.
If you'll promise to split it with me, I'll split it with you if I win. If you win, you split it with me.
I got to talk to John first before I make that commitment.
Yeah, it ain't going to happen. Ain't going to happen because you've already got something picked out. Probably going to buy with the money if you want it. But it's a good deal because this is something that he started, I think, 3 years ago. This might be the 4th year of it. And it's a really good event because it's kind of the seniors get their own suit that they can wear on an interview or something like that in the future. If football doesn't work out for them, he's setting them up for a good future. There's been a couple of guys come through here working for John here at the Chevrolet dealership, and just a lot of success with that program, Suits for Seniors in EKU football.
I think it's fantastic. And it's a lot of people this year. In the last 3 years, it's been at Arlington.
Yep.
And this year it's Chenault. So a little different this year.
Wine drinking.
There you go. Should be a fun night. So we'll have that for you next week, folks. Stay tuned for that. Don't forget 3 big games this week coming up on WBON TV. For producer Copeland Peterson, all of our great guests, thank you for hanging out with us on a Monday night and watching the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show.